We all think we know what a data breach is, right? But what if the biggest threat to your data isn't actually what you think? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the surprising reality of data protection.
So let's just start with a question that sounds, well, impossible. Imagine this. A hacker gets in and steals a massive amount of your personal data from a company you do business with. But legally, that company doesn't even have to report it as a breach. How on earth could that be possible?
Well, here's the answer, and it comes down to one word: encryption. You see, under major regulations like Europe's GDPR, if that stolen data was properly encrypted, it's not considered a reportable breach. Why? Because to the thief, that data is just useless, scrambled noise. And that one single loophole is exactly why understanding encryption isn't just for the tech geeks, it's absolutely critical for all of us.
So, how can this one technology make such a massive legal difference? To really get that, we need to pop the hood and see how encryption, the ancient art of turning information into secrets, actually works.
At its heart, the idea is incredibly simple. You take your information, what we call plain text, and you use encryption to scramble it into something totally unreadable, which we call ciphertext. The only goal here is confidentiality. It's about making sure that if the wrong person gets their hands on it, all they see is a bunch of gibberish.
And you know, this is not a new idea. We're talking 2,000 years ago, Julius Caesar was using simple ciphers to protect his military messages. But what's really mind-blowing is that the core encryption algorithms we rely on today were actually developed around 30 years ago. We haven't really changed them, we've just made them way stronger with bigger keys. And now, the big race is on to find the next generation of algorithms, the ones that can stand up to the unbelievable power of quantum computers.
Okay, so in our modern world, encryption really comes in two main flavors. First, you've got symmetric. Think of it like a key to your house. The same key locks the door and unlocks it. It's super fast and efficient. Then there's asymmetric, which is a bit more complex but really clever. It uses two keys, a pair. There's a public key that anyone can use to lock the data, but only one unique private key can unlock it. This is the magic that makes most of the secure internet possible.
Let's make this real. Say Alice wants to send a secret message to Bob. She finds Bob's public key, which remember is available to anyone, and she uses it to lock her message. Now it's scrambled. The only thing in the entire world that can unscramble that message is Bob's private key, which he keeps totally secret. No one else can open it. It's just an incredibly elegant way to communicate securely.
Okay, so encryption is our lock. We've got it. But what exactly are we supposed to be locking up? This is where defining personal data gets, well, surprisingly complicated.
The term you'll hear thrown around all the time is personally identifiable information, or PII. The idea sounds simple enough. It's any piece of data that can be used to figure out who you are. That could be your name, obviously, or your social security number, but it could also be a combination of things, like your zip code and your birthday.
But here's where the wheels start to fall off. What actually counts as PII isn't the same everywhere. So let me ask you, is your computer's IP address personal data? You think that's a simple yes or no question, right? Nope. The answer completely changes depending on what part of the world you're in.
And this is where it just gets messy for companies. Take a look. In the US, your full name is obviously PII, but your birth date all by itself, not always. But hop over to Europe, and under GDPR, that same birth date is considered personal data. Same thing with your IP address. It's protected in Europe, but not necessarily in the US. You can just imagine the headache this creates for any company that operates globally. And the penalties for getting this stuff wrong, they are huge. Under GDPR, the maximum fine for messing up data protection can be up to 20 million euros, or, and this is the big one, 4% of a company's total global revenue from the previous year, whichever is higher. Now that is a number that will definitely get a board's attention. But even if a company does everything right, I mean, perfect encryption, flawless data management, there's this huge backdoor they might not even see coming. The biggest danger might not be inside their own walls. It's hiding in their supply chain.
It's a classic saying for a reason. Your security is only as strong as its weakest link. And today, more often than not, that weakest link is a partner, a supplier, a vendor, someone in your supply chain. And there is no more powerful or frankly terrifying example of this than the SolarWinds attack. It was a true landmark case for supply chain hacks.
So here's how it went down. First, some really sophisticated hackers broke into SolarWinds, a company that tons of organizations trust for their software. Then, they did something incredibly sneaky. They hid malicious code inside a totally normal, routine software update. Finally, the trap was sprung. Hundreds of top companies and even US government agencies installed this poisoned update, and in doing so, they basically just handed the hackers a key to their own front door.
The lesson from SolarWinds is just crystal clear, and it's so important. A security failure at one of your vendors doesn't just stay their problem. It instantly becomes your failure. Their breach is your breach. Period.
Okay, so after all that, how does anyone possibly stay safe? Well, the good news is that it boils down to a pretty straightforward playbook that focuses on 3 core priorities.
Let's break it down. Priority number 1, encrypt your data. This is your ultimate insurance policy. Remember that loophole from the beginning? This is what turns a potential catastrophe into a non-event. Second, know your data. You have to find and classify all the PII you're holding because you just can't protect what you don't know you have. And finally, number 3, vet your vendors. I mean, after the SolarWinds story, this is completely non-negotiable. Their security is your security.
So, there you have it. Encrypt it, know it, and vet who gets to touch it. Those 3 things, those 3 pillars, they are the absolute foundation of any strong, modern data protection strategy.
And that brings us to one last, pretty chilling thought. Today's encryption is strong, there's no doubt, but the quantum computers that are coming are going to be infinitely stronger. So the real question we have to ask is, even if your data is locked up tight today, are the keys that can break it tomorrow already being built? That's the challenge that's going to define the future of security.